Welcome traders to our end of week technical analysis video. Let's go ahead and get straight into things. So this blue vertical line represents the last point in which we left off in our last technical analysis video, and the last point we left off was here. So as you can see, we established that price was consolidating between the levels of 2711 and 2705, 2711 being the resistance and 2705 being the support. I remember us speaking at around this area in our last technical analysis that we was waiting to see whether price would either respect the resistance and continue on bearish, breaking through our support and then continuing on bearish, or successfully testing our 2705 point of interest as a support, then eventually successfully breaking through the resistance of this short consolidation block. And as you can see, price ended up consolidating for a little bit longer, and then we sort of saw price come down to test between our resistance and support a few more times before we had the last final test and this liquidation grab on 2703, and then price pushed all the way up and broke through, indicating to us that a bullish move was viable. Bullish move was definitely probable, and the continuation of a bullish move was definitely more likely. The reason why we understand that the price, so for example here, it would have been a good trading opportunity to take along, since we have seen a break of the resistance of this consolidation block. However, there's one thing you need to take into account. Sometimes we can just have a liquidation grab. As you can see, we do have some liquidation on this level here going across. I can mark in a level for you real quick. If I just grab a trend line and put it from this level, so there you see there we have liquidation. So it could have just been a wipe of previous liquidation coming up to around this level and then breaking back down. However, price did continue, so to solidify that, it would have been our minute 15 point of interest that we have marked in with this green horizontal line, indicating to us that a long position was definitely a good idea. Anyway, continuing on with our path, if I go ahead and just sort of start off now where we are, where we broke out. So price continued, we broke out through that resistance, came up to test our 725 point of interest. We sort of had a little bit of consolidation around here before we created a new higher high and then a break and retest pattern, with price testing as at around 2728 as a resistance, and then coming back down to test 2725 as a support. Price then done the same thing, created a new higher high at our level of 2732. As you can see, once price hit this high, we actually wiped out these previous highs and the previous higher lows, and price sort of continued down, and we had a test of the level of 2718 and then a break and retest pattern on the other end, where we tested a previous support as a resistance, so tested 2725 as a resistance. And then price continued on. However, we did see this level of around 2716 hold price, and then we did push up again to around that 2728 level, again creating a break and retest pattern on this previous level of 2725. Now we are testing it as a support on previous resistance, obviously this being the resistance and this being the support. So again, break and retest pattern. We then came up to 2737, and then price continued. If I go ahead and drag into the future a little bit more so we can continue to mark up, so yeah, as you can see, price sort of consolidated between the levels of 2740 and 2744 before we had another higher low created on the lower time frames, and then price came to 2748. Another point of interest of ours, roughly around 2750, and as you can see on the lower time frames, obviously you can't see too much on minute 15, but I can imagine that on the minute 5, on the minute 1, you will be able to see that price is consolidated between this level for a period of time before price then decided to break out with this common resistance of around 2749.4, and continuing on bullish to our next point of interest at 2757. Price then came back down to test this previous resistance as a support, again a break and retest pattern, and then we had a few breaks higher, creating higher highs and higher lows at 2760 to 2762, and then price sort of created a bearish wedge, which was very interesting to watch when it was happening. Obviously I understand we did have some high impact news, and obviously this bearish wedge did start at the opening of New York session on the Wednesday. Give me a second because I have just messed up the path. So again, price came up to 2760, and then we had this consolidation between these levels, and since then price has continued on bearish. We saw price come down to test our level of 2740, with price then coming back up to test a few levels that we don't actually have marked in, but we don't want to mark in unnecessary levels. These definitely could be some minute 15 levels, some lower time frame levels. However, we haven't actually got around to doing the remarkup of our charts yet, which we will be doing very, very soon. So stay tuned for that video. Again, so we had another bearish move to 2740. Price then came up to test this median resistance of around 2755, and then price had a strong bearish move coming down all the way to 2735. We found support at this level of 2735, and price completely rejected this level and came back up to around our 260 level. Price then came to test a previous resistance as a support of around 2752 to 2750. Price then created a new higher high, and then coming down to test on this previous resistance, again a break and retest pattern, giving gold the momentum that it needed for a continuation of this bullish move. As you can see, price then touched the level of 2777. Had a slight bit of consolidation here, and then price came up to test this rough level again, and then we have now had a slight minor retracement. So this is what's happened in the last week. As you can see, a lot of movement on gold since we last left off, overall being bullish. Obviously the last point that we left off, price was sitting at around 2711, price is now at 2773. So a good around 600 pip increase for gold since our last start of week technical analysis, which is amazing. If we go ahead and go to our hour one real quick and just have a look what this looks like there. So yeah, as you can see that price has just sort of created higher highs, higher lows, and just consolidated at certain levels. And then we obviously did have this this grab here, which was the only thing that was could have possibly changed the bullish outcome. However, price then continued to found support at that level of around 2636, and then continued on bearish, and we are now testing at around 2778. So yeah, so everything for gold right now in terms of price is positive. Obviously, as forex traders, we can short and long the market, short being sell and long being buy. So it doesn't really matter what way it goes. We just want to sort of understand the trend. One thing I do want to sort of mark in here on the hour one is, as you can see, as you remember, we just spoke about the resistance being formed on that minute 15. As you can see here, if I mark it in with an eclipse, you can see that resistance a lot stronger. So a possibility for or an outcome, if you will, from this current level would be for price to continue on bearish from this level, and have a sort of bearish retracement to around the level of 2757, creating a higher low and a break and retest pattern on this previous resistance, and test it as a support, giving gold the help and momentum to push us up to a all-time high. This point of interest here is this vertical box here marked in purple is the last all-time high of around let me have a look, level 2787. So if we see price surpass this level, obviously we're going to see a continuation. If gold surpasses this level, the probability of it touching into the 2800s for the first time is very, very likely. However, we could in turn see a bearish flip. We could see price continue bearish from this point onwards and sort of break the structure that we have formed. However, if you look at our hour four, the bullish move is very, very likely. You can see that obviously when we looked at our hour one and our minute 15, the last point we left off, we were seeing some slight bearish retracements, but it just goes to show when you're looking at the lower time frames, it can show you so many different moves and so much more information, if you will, whereas if you zoom out and we come to our hour four, you can see really we've been in a bearish trend since just before Christmas last year. A bullish trend since Christmas last year, since the 18th of December. Obviously, we had this big retracement here after we tested this level of around 2716. Again, that level that we had marked in where we saw this break and retest pattern indicating and moving gold on further. But yeah, so we have been in a bullish trend for a while now. So a continuation of this wouldn't be improbable. However, we could have a significant bearish retracement. However, I don't think we're going to see the 2600s broken into anytime soon. If price was to continue bearish from this point onwards, and we see price sort of surpass our level of 2700, we will indicate and confirm that as a break of structure, giving us the likelihood that gold will continue on bearish and we will see a bear run. But as of right now, price is definitely strong. Price is definitely moving in a bullish fashion. And yeah, sorry for the background noise, guys. I do definitely still have people living with me, so yeah, apologies for that if it interrupts, but it shouldn't be too bad. But yeah, so that's going to be roughly for gold. So we're basically looking at these two levels here. If I go to our minute 15, so we're looking at this support here and this resistance of around here. So it's the same thing as where we last left off in this consolidation block. So we, instead of it being 2711 and 2705, the levels that we are testing between 2775 and 2771. So the indication for us and to give us the most probable move will be if price continues to consolidate. We could see that for a while, testing the median support and resistance before price then either breaks up. If we see price break through the resistance, price will most likely come back down to retest it as a support and continue on bullish. Again, for a bearish move, obviously there's always going to be probability for a bearish move. A bearish move is the same thing, but instead of consolidating and breaking through the resistance, we could see price break through the support and continue on bearish. But yeah, that's going to be that for our end of week technical analysis video. I hope you guys have enjoyed. It's been a decent week, I believe, as well. So don't forget to withdraw some of your profits for yourselves. Obviously, there'll still probably be a couple trades today. But yeah, that's going to be it. Me, Gold Signals. I hope you lot have enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And peace.